the longer bit. So this video should be around 3 to 4 minutes long. I'm not sure, but just give a summary. I recently watched Paprika, and I like the movie. I have some thoughts about it though. First and foremost, I just realized it came out the year I was born. But secondly, I got confused with a different movie that is definitely more horror than what, like, the movie I thought it was is more horror than this. So I went into the movie thinking it was gonna be more like a horror movie. It's not. Kind of. There are some really creepy scenes, but it's not really a horror movie. Also, I don't really get why it's rated R. There's like 2 scenes of nudity, which I guess make it go rated R, but like, I really don't like the idea that nudity automatically equates to rated R-ness sometimes, because like, if a scene would be the same except with a bikini on, it's like, come on. Or if the scene need to be naked, it's like, okay, so the scene requires them to be naked, so because of that, you're radar. But that's a whole nother can of worms that has, like levels to it. But that's besides the point. I really do like the movie. I think have very interesting themes. I was trying to rate it correctly on my short video, but I think the better way to word it is, for this part, is that one of the key things that I think will benefit you if you go into this movie is if you read the actual full thing before I am, right? Because I do think this movie does lean towards a classical philosophy of what is reality, when it comes to like the difference in between dreaming and reality. I think a key detail, if you want like some key moments where it definitely leans towards this, is not only Paprika as a character, but also um, when it comes to the ending of the movie, right? I will say that I think it was a little overhyped to me, because it was like the video I saw about it was like, even the director don't know what's going on. No one, I watched the movie so many times, I still don't know what's going on, how it's playing. I think that you have a pretty decent understanding of not even his movie. It's like you can piece together stuff pretty good. I think you have a pretty good understanding. I do want to say I probably have a like bigger foot in the door due to the fact that I watch stuff about psychology, filmography, and stuff like that. So maybe it's easier for me to understand. So I want to say that it might be way more complicated. I will say this though, it is definitely way more more complex and more confusing when it comes to the dream stuff than Inception. So if you found Inception really confusing, you're gonna find this one literally out. Like, what the heck are you talking about? But I also do like this one more because it is way more scientifically accurate and scientifically fun. Quite frankly, you could do an entire bit just talking about the science behind this movie, because I'm just gonna summarize it like this. Um, it could theoretically possible that yes, we could connect each other's dreams and like play it in our heads, while also recording by picking up the sensors that make our brain trigger and bring up the memories that, like, because dreams are pieces of memories and whatnot, and because of the fact that it's manifesting these ideas that you have, you could theoretically record a brain scan of these things, right? It's kind of like how we can scan your brain while you're smelling something and say, oh, you're remembering something. If we had the technology to replicate that and be like, oh, no, you remember this because of the unique patterns of which your brain's firing, and not just your hippocampus, which is recalling the memory, but in like other parts of your brain to give a visual image with it, then we should be able to also record our dreams too. So yes, from a scientific standpoint, it's way more better, because just simply entering the dream and dying because of it is weird to me. Also, I think that is the same case here, but I do like how it's definitely more well blended, in my opinion. Um, because of the fact that there are not levels to it. Inception is smart when it comes to levels, because it's dealing with the level of um connection within your brain, like the different levels of awareness is the best way to put it. So I do like the idea that, like, oh, the deeper you go down, the more dangerous you become, because the fact that it's more subconscious, mean that your body will also think that you actually died. And I do think it's the same case here, but I will also say I think it's more interesting here because of the fact that there aren't levels. Like, there are levels to it, but not exactly. Where it's like there's really only one playing field. It's just how distorted that playing field is, and how confused and merged with reality that playing field is. So yeah. Um. Also, another thing is I like this movie more when it comes to like the blending of reality, because of the fact that one, in Inception, you just very much look like reality, which I do get that being a problem. Like, oh well, you can't tell it's fake because it just look like reality, right? But it's a dream, so I do feel like it should have been more dream. As there are, I know there are scenes with it, but I mean, like, take for instance, the ending should be more dreamy. I'm not saying Inception is a bad movie. I'm just saying, me personally, I like this movie more than Inception because of the fact that I feel more creative and liberating. I do want to know so that it is also a restraint on the type of film it is, since this is an anime, meaning that animation, it does have more leeway to being more creative with what they got. Take for instance, in my own series that I want to do one day, if I was to make a character power, like one of the characters fighting like in the real world, his power is like, yeah, I can draw something and then make it come to real life. And then I had him like throw a specific pattern of punches to replicate like a signal. And because if they can visualize it, it becomes reality. That would probably look bad. But animation, I mean, it look like Demon Slayer. Literally nothing there is real outside of demons. Their breathing form are just all in their head, but you're telling me that doesn't look fire? I'm not getting the argument of that is true or not because that's weird. But, like, that is what it said. So, with that being stated, though, I do like it more. Um, really, I do like the movie altogether. I also like the themes. Right, the themes are really good. Um, just to, I'm not gonna spoil it too much, as I really don't want to. I do want you to go watch the movie, and I'll also have a really big spoiler in my actual long review of Silent Voice. I am not going to spoil every movie I showcase. I'm not gonna necessarily not spoil them, but I'm gonna try to keep it kind of vague, unless it's specifically dealing with the spoiler. I like the themes and morals of the movie. First of all, I want to say I am so glad that like the bigger character wasn't completely made fun of for it. Like they do throw some jabs at him and whatnot, but like take for instance the girl, he ends up with the girl, like the main kid. I would say the main character honestly. He ends up with the main character, but then also the fact that like I am so glad they didn't go with the old like that man. I thought they were going with that man and paprika. Um, Thank God they didn't, because quite frankly, that man entire age thing make no sense to me. You're telling me that this big, like, the 60-year-old man, 3 feet tall, full white hair, is roughly the same age as this cop, this, like, 5'11", barely graying hair, very athletic cop? What are we talking about here? There is no way. I refuse to believe that. Like, even after watching the movie, I refuse to believe it. Let me tell you, that was the reason why I'm like, maybe that professor's evil. Cause I was like, there is literally no way that man should look that old compared to this man. I know genetics are a thing, but I was like, nah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Um, but yeah, I really do like the themes of the movie. The cop focus, like Paprika and the cop focus more on the subconsciousness and accepting your true self. But the overall movie has to do with dreams and like first of all, what are dreams? Like the fact that sometimes they seem to be a mirror of ourselves and the reflection that we see in the world, and sometimes we see them as things to be taken over with our own process. It's a bunch of stuff, but to summarize it, I would like to say that there's three main things that I really like when it comes to the morals and themes of the story. One, I like the fact that they have inclusion of a scientific character who, is childish. I like how they introduce that and how they execute it, where it's like the they he doesn't really think about the consequences necessarily of what he's making. He thinks about the benefit that it has for man. But it does propose a moral question on if trampling, even though it could benefit us, is trampling on these things that we can't actually do naturally is really harming us in the long run, especially when you consider nature. And I really like that because it's not just technology bad, it's the technology is new, but it also come with like problems that could be set. I like the idea of well, childhood. one of the key aspects of this in movie is talking about your childhood and how you grow up. We don't get much about Paprika backstory. I think some things can be hinted at, but um, like take for instance the cop. He wanted to be a filmmaker, but then he became a cop instead, and the story that he was making was him as a cop. But at the end of the movie, he comes to accept that, like, no, I didn't necessarily give up on my dream, even though I kind of did. I just manifested it in a different way versus having it be in this way. I manifested in this way. I just realized that's a spoiler, but my bad. Um, or take for instance, uh, the old man, right? We don't really know what his dream was, but we do know that he really cared for nature and want nature to be the grasp of humanity. So when he got this hands on this technology, he wanted the ability to control it all and make it so that science and dreams are one, where dreams are just that's how it is. Dreams are sacred places where you can go to relax and escape reality at any point in time without having to worry about the restraints of the real world. That's really cool. Um, but yeah, overall, really like the movie. I would highly recommend you go watch it. If you want a place to go watch it, I personally watch it on YouTube. It's free with ads. So you have premium American as well as it's called Paprika. Let me spell it out for you. Paprika. Um, Came out 2006. It's rated R. Uh, there is a scene where it's highly suggestive. It doesn't get to that point, but it's definitely highly suggestive. So I would be worried about that if you don't like the. Hopefully, I give you a hint, the suggestion. Um, but imagine someone not actively wanting to do that. Also, I will say I find it gross that he kissed the like. I do get it was the ending of the movie, but I do find it weird. Not the actual ending of the movie, but like when you see it. I do find it weird that he did kiss, technically speaking, a unconscious lady. Do not like that. But besides that, there really is no complaint for this movie. Um, I don't want to overhype it, but underhype it. It is really fun though. I also really like the art style. Um, I really just like the music. It's just really good music too. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy. Next review will probably not be this long because it's just gonna be up Pacific Rim, and also will probably be if I do make it long, probably be sideways instead of long ways because I do not want to have to keep making these videos and deleting the one off my phone after I save the other one, just in case someone wanted me to not be weird for once and record my videos on landscape mode instead of portrait. But see y'all next time.